Groot, you ever pick your feet in Poughkeepsie? Yeah, I'm kidding. What's up, everybody? We are here. We're here. It's the FilmStruck Film Club. This is your boy Groot. I'm Carson. We do this every week. We watch a film a week. A lot of times it's going to be on the Criterion channel. Lately, a lot of them have been on HBO Max. Shout out to the TCM hub on HBO Max. There's a ton of great stuff available. But we watch a lot of international films, a lot of classic films, blah, blah, blah. We wanted to start the year. Happy New Year, by the way. We can still say that. It doesn't matter if we're 10 days into this thing. You can still say it. But we picked a great movie for the top of the year. It's a movie that had been on my list for a very long time because it's on so many lists of films of all time. The American Film Institute. When I was in high school, quick little history, I got my hands on the AFI Top 100 films when I was in like 10th grade. And it was when Netflix was still sending DVDs to your house. And so I just put the whole list on my Netflix queue. And so as I would watch stuff, only the best American movies would show up to my house. And it wound up being the way that I got into film. It doesn't matter. You get it. Maybe you had a similar story. But this film is one of the few films on that list that somehow I still had never seen. Like I said, AFI Top 100. It also won 5 Academy Awards for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Screenplay, and Editing in 1971. That's right, we watched William Friedkin's The French Connection. This film had been on a pedestal for me for a long time because I had always just heard that it's this big old classic. And it's got this epic car chase scene in it, which it does. And we'll get to the car chase in a little bit. But I did find myself perhaps that I had a little too high expectations maybe. So by the time I actually sat down and watched it, compared to a lot of the other like crime dramas from the same period that take place in New York City, I just felt a little bit like I'd seen this before. But after watching it and doing a little bit of research, it's kind of like, oh, well, you feel like you've seen this before because everybody fucking copied it. Everybody copied The French Connection after it came out. There was a huge, influx of like guerrilla filmmaking, specifically with these New York filmmakers. Think like early Scorsese, early Brian De Palma, that kind of gang of dudes. William Friedkin is very much one of them. And he made this movie and won 5 Academy Awards with a shoestring budget, y'all. They made this movie for like $2 million or less dollars. And it was the 3rd highest grossing movie of the year. Won a bunch of Oscars. Like, they clearly swung for the fences and won. And in doing some research on this film, they did a ton of it with no permits, which, if you're watching the movie, the palpable danger is why the movie is a classic. So let's break it down real quick. Gene Hackman plays Popeye Doyle. He's a cop. Him and Roy Scheider are partners. You may recognize Roy Scheider from movies like Jaws or All That Jazz, or he's been in a ton of things, but he was one of the guys. I think this movie was nominated for 7 Academy Awards, and he was in the group that didn't win. So he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, but he didn't win for this. Anyway, they play these 2 New York cops. They're undercover cops, and yeah, they're kind of dirty cops. So quite frankly, what is it? Almost 50 years on since this film came out. It's just like not that fun to have your heroes be like bad cops. Mind you, we do play with their complex nature, and we don't let these characters off the hook. Like William Friedkin, I think, does a good job of illustrating that these are dudes kind of operating outside of the preferred procedure. So there's some scenes where, like, he's just being a badass cop, where it's like, you're not being badass, man. You're kind of being a dick. And I found myself a little bit siding with the French guy, the guy who's this is his drug operation. I'm kind of over here like, dude, he has a really good heroin operation and you guys are fucking it up. So it's interesting how time can do that. Maybe I've just seen Ozark and Breaking Bad and things a few too many times to where I feel for these federal criminals. But yeah. The movie is very exciting. It took me a second to kind of get into it, just because it was like I'd been waiting so long to finally watch this movie, and Criterion finally put it on the channel, and it's already leaving at the end of January. So I was like, we got to watch French Connection. And I'm really glad that I finally saw it because, God, that car chase scene is as iconic as they say it is. I mean, it's like quite a long sequence, edited within an inch of its life. I mean, like the way that these shots just careen into each other, pun intended, is a marvel. Like it is one of the greatest edited sequences I've ever seen. And I did read that while they were editing it, they edited it to Santana's Black Magic Woman. So, that song is not playing while we watch the car chase scene happen, but it is cool to think that it was developed with this musical rhythm. And then just by taking the music out, the rhythm of the cuts are just like so precise and exciting because they have a musicality to them that you just can't hear. So I thought that was cool. I said the line to Groot to start this video, but that weird thing that Doyle says a couple times in the movie where he's like, you pick your feet in Poughkeepsie? I didn't know what the fuck that was. I still don't really, but I did read that it was like a kind of good cop, bad cop tactic that the real cops that these characters are inspired from, caveat, those two guys that were actually the cops that this was inspired by. The book that inspired the film is about these cops. They're real dudes. They were consultants on the film. And I forgot really why I was telling you that. But, oh, right, the good cop, bad cop thing. It's like one of them would be asking questions. The Roy Scheider character in this sense is asking questions that we actually want answers to. And then Doyle, with this aggressive attitude, is asking really random questions, which then make answering Roy Scheider's questions a little easier. It's like, I don't know what the fuck that means, but Wally sent me. You know what I mean? There's no Wally. But yeah, I do want to mention also real quick that it's not like in the film a whole lot, but the score that I have his name written down, Don Ellis, dude, the score to this movie is so rad. It's like, it's very jazzy, it's sparse, it doesn't happen a lot, and there's a couple times where seemingly it's happening with like all the wrong instruments. Like, there were two moments in particular where it sounds like these instruments shouldn't be making this together. It almost is like creating a dissonance that's not actually there. The notes all go together. I just found it to be such a interesting and unique way to score a film. I did also read, I'll finish this up real quick. It's our first one of the year. I'm excited. I'm glad we finally watched I'm crossing another film off the AFI list, crossing off another Best Picture winner. You know, it's nice to be finally sitting down and watching one of Gene Hackman's greatest roles. I mean, whether you like him or not, he's great as Popeye Doyle. I mean, he's great. He's so rad. He's just a bit of a dick. There's, of course, I don't really want to spoil it right here, but the ending is just kind of like, whoa, and then the movie ends. And I was like, not really expecting that. But after sitting with it for a couple hours, I was like, it's a very bleak kind of way to end the film, but it was also sort of perfect. I don't know. What do you think? Like, I thought it was kind of cool. I did read that it was the first R-rated film to win Best Picture. That's mostly because of the MPAA not really having an R rating yet. You could say that Midnight Cowboy, which won in 1969, had a rating of X. So a rated X movie won before a rated R movie ever did. But anyway, it's just kind of a cool little tidbit. But yeah, Groot and I had a good time, didn't we, Groot? William Friedkin, what a guy. He made The Exorcist, and he made this movie Sorcerer that I've been trying to track down for years. He's an interesting cat. If you want to see him at like his curmudgeoningly best, you got to watch him and Nicholas Winding Refn, the director of Drive. They have some interviews where Nick is asking him questions and Friedkin just does not have any respect for Nicholas Winding Refn. And it's kind of an awkward interview, to be frank, but it's also great because Friedkin is just such an unapologetic douchebag that, I mean, the guy has made some of the best movies. He made one of the best horror movies ever, if not the best horror movie, and he made clearly one of the greatest car chase scenes ever. I mean, maybe there is no Fast and the Furious without the French Connection. But that's like a whole nother podcast for another day. In the meantime, I think I'm done talking about the French Connection. What do you think, Groot? We good? We're good. Follow us at FilmStruck Film Club. Keep in touch. Keep track. We're watching movies all the time. You can always look at what we've watched previously, either by just scrolling through Instagram and being like, oh, look at the stuff they watched. Or if you use Letterboxd, we are on there. I'm Carson Higgins. You could look up FilmStruck Film Club. A list will pop up that says films we've watched so far. And check it out. See if there's something on there that you want to throw on tonight. And then find the review. Give me a little comment. Whatever. Do it however you want. But just know that we're watching good stuff over here. So if you want to be a part of it, just come on down. Just give us a follow and join up. Join up! Uncle Sam, I don't fucking know. Anyway, so much love. Glad to see you guys. Thanks for coming. See you next week.